What's up guys, my name is KillianK and the official HBO series The Last of Us is airing actually right now today, and I did a trailer remake of the official trailer in Studio One. Sounds like this. Yeah, so that's the track. I hope you like it. If you want to listen to the full version again in full quality, just check out the link in the description. It would mean a lot to me, actually. And I think we'll just go right into the track. I'm gonna try to explain it as fast as possible so you don't get bored along the way. And let's just start with the intro, right? I think the most important thing with writing trailer track, by the way, this is a trailer mock-up, so I just recreated the official trailer from The Last of Us, if you haven't seen it. So it's kind of like I tried to do it one-to-one. Yeah, so I had the idea already laid out, if that makes sense. I think the important part in the trailer intro is just to get the mood and get this epic vibe. And I think you do this perfectly with a piano and some reverb. I think I'm not the first one who does this. In the intro, we're just limiting us to some basic notes. And I just processed the piano quite heavily, so without it sounds like this. And with. And I think the main thing here for the sound is actually the RC20, which gives us like this pitch bend, which I really, really love on this one. And to be honest, it's nearly everything in the intro, because we just have some sustains here. Some viola sustains, and they are from Pacific Ensemble Strings from Performance Samples, a new library which I just bought like 2 days ago or something. So I really had to test it out and I love it. Pacific Performance Strings here, we have some piano here. The piano is, by the way, just the Giant from Contact. And then we have our classic trailer boom. And together we have the intro. Then we have some effects here that are really simple. It's just some ambience and everything is just ducked in big reverb, as you see here. So we have some risers, some rouges, and some signal, whatever. So that's that. Then nothing really happening here. Then we have some ambient shot again. It's the same one. And we have this pad. It gives such a nice vibe. It just reminds of some police kind of thing. But without the reverb, it sounds like this. And with. Giving it as much space as possible to give the big ambient trailer vibe, if that makes sense. So then in the second part, we just add a cello, which sounds like this. And yeah, the cello is just basically also playing the chord notes. By the way, this cello library is really sick. It's from Tina Go, and I think it's just play a little bit here. I think the cello library is the best cello library out there. Actually, there are two of her. But yeah, if you need a cello library, I can just highly recommend it. So this is the cello coming in here. The piano melody is just playing some quicker melodies. So we just upscale the tempo, if that makes sense, to introduce the main melody of the theme. And then we also add a sub layer here. It's just a basic sub. And then if we come to this part, we also introduce some piano chords. It's the same piano sound, it's just chords. Then we have some spiccato strings down here, which are from Jaeger. It's like a library called Jaeger from Audio Imperia. Really good for trailer stuff. They sound like this. With effect like this. I always put an OTT on my strings and an EQ. Actually, normally I do like this, but I don't know. This is my cue for that one. Just ramping up the speed, right? Then we have some big risers here. And then we have the unexpected melody. So here I just, it's the trailer, right? If you know The Last of Us, you know that Teigum is a big part in the games as well, and I hope in the series as well, because it's also in the trailer. So I just recreated the lead sound here with Serum. It sounds like this. I layered it with this one and made a reverse. Then we have some hits and we have some chords down up here. The chords are just playing the root note, to be honest. So that's just the only thing here. We have our trailer hits down there. Just accenting the ones on the beat. And on top of that, we also have our sub layer again, just to give the bass. And then I sampled the a cappella. Sounds like this. And I just did this fat EQ, so I EQ'd the mids quite heavily, but just left out some more of the sides, so we have a big, more stereo kind of image on this one. And then some big reverb. And I did that because in the main trailer it's also this radio vibe, and I also wanted to introduce the vocal so it doesn't come too random into the main climax later. And then the next vocal. And then we're coming in the big build up to the main climax. And in the trailer they used like a signal thing. And the closest I came up with was this one. And without effects it's like this. And with like this. Just some reverb, 2 reverbs actually, some distortion and stuff. Then of course the trailer hits in the end as well. Combined with the Damage 2. Damage 2, great library for percussion. So we just layered Damage 2 without Damage 2, it sounds like this. And with. Then also again the vocals on top. The same processing. Then we have a cappella reverse. So now we're coming to the big climax part. So for that one, I'm just gonna quickly mute the vocals so we can listen how it sounds without the vocals. I just love the big sound. So one of the main things in the drop here are the strings, a really important part, and they sound like this. The chords are played by the violins, so it's like the big octave above. They're EQ'd a bit with some OTT. And of course, every time I play the violin, so if we just quickly do chords here, I always try to automate the modulation. Just to give it a more real feeling, like a real player would have played it. And I do this with every instrument actually. We have our high violin legatos. We have some violas as well, just playing some keys of the chords, not every key because we don't want to clutter the mix. Then we have our double basses. And together they sound like this. I just make sure that I process my strings quite heavily, because if you, for example, take these ones, I always EQ the 3000 Hertz section, because I really, this is a spectrum where the strings kind of have annoying frequencies. So if you just listen to it, just in the context, and with the EQ, it's just way nicer, also because the vocal sits in this range as well. But I have some tricks how I let the vocal fit in the mix. There's actually some quite nice tricks here, I think. The brass are playing this. So also here the brass are heavily processed, OTT, EQ, some reverb, and we have some soothe as well. And soothe is just automatically removing the annoying frequencies we don't want. And then we have our main French horns here. These are from Jaeger as well, playing the melody. I cut out some of the low mids, or mid to low mids, because I feel like if every instrument have too much mids, it just gets cluttered in the mix later on. And then we have the 12 French horns just to layer it on top or above. The brass and the strings together sounds like this. We have our percussion part, just consists of our hits and booms. Then we have these perks coming in. Just feeling like in the jungle here, but they're just adding like this faster groove in the second part. And also in the second part we have this trumpet, which just replaces the French horns because the melody is going an octave up in the orchestra. And then that's basically it actually. It's quite simple. The main thing in this climax is actually the vocal. And now we're coming to my vocal processing, because the vocal sounds without effect like this. It could have worked as well, but with processing it sounds like this. So from this, so the first thing I did, I was just removing the lows. But actually not too many lows, because I think the lows in this vocal are pretty sick. Then some OTT for the trailer sounds, that makes sense. We have some soothe. You can really feel the difference if you put soothe on vocals, it's insane. Just hear the frequencies. It's just way more pleasing for the ear. Then we have some big reverb again, like 3.8 seconds actually with 40% mix. Quite big reverb. And then afterwards, we have a compression. Good question, why afterwards actually? I'm not quite sure, but I think I did it on purpose because I wanted the reverb to get louder as well. So that the compressor is actually compressing the vocal together with the reverb to like this big bunch of space, if that makes sense. So we have the CL2A, my go-to compressor for vocals. And without. You can hear it especially here in the reverb tail, but also the reason I used it was because in this vocal part here, he sings quieter here than here. And with the compressor, I'm kind of compressing the volume to one consistent level, more or less, if you can say it like this. So that was the main reason I actually used it. So this one gets a bit louder and everything else just have more or less the same volume. So then the main question is, how do we get the acapella sit in the mix? And that's actually quite a nerdy question, to be honest. But I have some soothe on the brass, which look like this. And if you look at the waveform, it's sidechained to the vocal. That means that all the frequencies from the vocal are ducking in the brass section. And the same thing I did for the strings as well. So if we deactivate this, it just gives the vocal a natural space and all this orchestra, and I really love the sidechain from the soothe. So if you have problems to get something in the mix, I can just like recommend put a soothe on top, sidechain the signal tool, and it will do the rest. That's actually the whole track. I hope you could learn a bit of the composition. Actually, if you haven't recognized it, I'm using Studio One for this one and not FL Studio because I kind of switched my DAWs due to workflows. As you can see, the automations and stuff are just really easy to access. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments, and don't forget to listen to the whole track in the description, and I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one.